Any minute now. Whores in this house, there's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house, there's some whores in this house. I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy, make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up right here on GubsRadio.com, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Boxcast. And like our good friend Ken Pichelle always says,
we on TV!
And yes, indeed we are, folks. I'm your host, Don Sill. This is Benny Gagooch Rizzuti, and we are here at Looney Tunes, the legendary music store right here in Babylon Strong Island. Benny, how you feeling about all that, man? I know you're a big fan.
I love that, and I want to tell you, I'm a cranky guy. I've been getting cranky lately since my birthday. You know, like I hate young people and everything, but I love this store. And in this store unites everybody on. This is the FAO Schwartz of music stores on Long Island. For those of you who don't know, you young little bastards who don't know what FAO Schwartz, it was the greatest toy store in the world.
And they also don't know what good music is either.
You don't know what good music. You come here to Looney Tunes. Look, I'm wearing a shirt.
That's right.
Looney Tunes has everything. They have all your new stuff. They have vinyl has made a comeback. And they have
vinyl's been doing great.
They have a great vinyl selection. They have a selection of everybody, anyone you like. And if they don't have it here, you can order it. And they also, Don, they have shirts. Not just they have Grateful Dead shirts, Frank Zappa shirts.
Wow.
Pink Floyd shirts.
A lot of music, a lot of great stuff here.
Yeah.
And who better to celebrate all this great music than one of the best comedians on Long Island, and also one of the greatest DJs on Long Island himself.
Great working DJ.
The man, the myth, the legend, Joey Petroni is here with us. Joey, how you doing, man?
Hey guys, how's it going, Don?
How's it going, man?
Good.
How are you?
How are you? Nice to see you.
How you doing?
We gotta do
the
COVID.
What are we doing?
The COVID shuffle.
The COVID.
The
Yes.
COVID shuffle. Then we can make a song. Yeah.
What's up, man?
So, Joey, you are not only a hilarious comedian, but also a DJ.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what music means to your whole life right now.
Well, music is, right now, I don't watch TV. I don't watch any of the stuff going on in the world. I just listen to music. And, you know, I don't do drugs, but I drink beer. And beer and Zeppelin is drugs.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
It puts my mind at peace, you know, a little Pink Floyd, a little Grateful Dead, man, you know.
So you're more of a rock dude, right? So does that transcend in the shows that you do? Is it all rock or nothing?
It's pretty much, I mean, my clientele as far as DJing is, you know, like a lot of biker clubs and stuff like that. I'm doing a biker wedding in October 17th. So that's my clientele. Every now and then I got to do a kids party. I got to pay the bills, man. So, you know, I throw my hair in a ponytail and I bring hula hoops.
Yeah, so to go from a biker rally party or a biker wedding to a children's party, it's got to be quite a difference.
It's a big contrast, right? It's, you know, one day I'm doing the hokey pokey and the next night I'm playing, you know, Molly Hatchet.
You ever bring the wrong records to the biker rally and also you have them doing the hokey pokey? Because they know what it's all about.
I've tried different music at biker rallies, and you know, you don't want to get your ass kicked, so you got to stay away from the top 40s, the crap that's on the radio today. They don't like that stuff, but it's classic rock, basically classic rock for the bikers. You know, Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf.
So you tell me the bikers don't do the electric slide?
Well, the wives will, yeah. But you got to make sure you make both parties happy, you know.
Excellent. Well, we got more with Joey Petroni and more with Looney Tunes coming up soon. Joey, you want to see what's coming up next?
Yeah, man. What's coming up next?
Hey, check it out, man.
Monty Belligerent here. How you doing? Every channel the other day, it was all talking about debates. It was on every channel. It was one mass debate. That's what it was. Everyone was talking about the mass debate. It's a terrible thing. It's terrible. There was a lot of stroking going on in the mass debates. I watched the debates. I used to watch the debates way back when. I remember the first debate was Kennedy against Nixon. Ask not what you can do for your country. Ask what your country. Blah, 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 blah. And I knew Nixon was going to lose, and I was only like 3 years old. And I said, because I knew he was going to lose. I said, what are you going to do? Anyway, this last debate with Donald Trump and Joey B. It was a little crazy. There was a lot of interruptions going on. But when you listen to it a second time, Trump made a lot of sense. He said a lot of things that made sense, but nobody listened because everybody was listening to how much he was interrupted all the time. Pretty soon we got the vice presidential debate. Kamala Ding Dong and Mike Pence. It's like the devil versus God, because Mike Pence is very religious and she's like the devil. She's going to have the little horns. She's a mean lady. She's going to kick his ass. Everybody's going to say, hey, she was so mean. And Mike Pence is going to be very religious. He's going to do the sign of the cross. What are you going to do?
Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange. When you're strange.
Hours. This is ridiculous. Someone consider it. You crazy? I'm done with this. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. That's
it. Joey, what do you look for when you come to a store like this?
Well, first of all, obviously the quality of the record, you know. I'm looking right here. It's the first aisle I'm going down, and right away, this album jumps out at me. This album changed my life back then, man, back in the day. This is Bat Out of Hell.
Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell.
Favorite song is Bat Out of Hell from Meatloaf. And, obviously, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. You put that on at a block party, you got the guys on one side of the street, you got the women on the other side of the street, 2 microphones, and it's a blast, you know? They act the whole thing out. Steps by Lynyrd Skynyrd, it reminds me of the old days. I actually had to get 3 steps out of some woman's apartment one time. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. Van Morrison's got a ventriloquist puppet. How cool is that? I actually like Van Morrison even more now. I never saw that before. The Prophet Speaks.
Hey Joey, what are you looking at over there?
Oh, nothing, man. No, I was just looking over here.
What the? Sean Cassidy?
Just brings back childhood memories, man. Nothing personal, I'm looking for Grateful Dead, actually.
Yeah, right.
When I was 16, we sent to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
And they got a lot of cool stuff like rock and roll shirts, coffee cups. Look at this right here, man. One of my favorite bands of all time, Slayer. This is like, it's like heaven being in here.
This place is awesome.
I don't think anybody's ever said heaven and Slayer in the same sentence.
This is Benny's favorite store of all time. There you go, Ride the Light.
The Mayo Schwartz of music stores. They have Monopoly games of your favorite bands. Really, Grateful Dead Monopoly, Beatles Monopoly. Probably Slayer Monopoly. Which, I think.
Slayer Monopoly would just be on fire. With the whole city would be burning.
Blood coming out of the board.
You heard it here, folks. All right, stay tuned. Hey guys, check out what's coming up next. It's right here.
Where I go to eat breakfast in LA, right next to my breakfast place, there is an animal eye care clinic. Kid you not, animal eye care clinic. I don't have insurance, but let's get Mitten some contacts. Better now or now? Now.
right, everybody. Our next guest is a very funny comedian whose current album, I Am Not the Hero of This Story, is available now on iTunes and Amazon and is critically acclaimed. She is in her 13th year of her podcast, The Dork Forest, and she also has a podcast with comedian Laurie Kilmartin where they complain and celebrate stand-up comedy. It's called The Jackie and Laurie Show. And here she is right now. Jackie Cation is with us now. Yes.
Yes. Well played. Well played.
How you doing now? You're in West Coast. You in LA?
Yes. Yes. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm in the very blue collar part of Los Angeles. I'm going to actually turn the AC off so that you can hear me better.
Okay.
And I'm in the Valley. I'm in Van Nuys. It's nice. You don't have to dress up to go anywhere. People are normal.
That's cool.
It's like the two different parts of Long Island, which I had never known. There until the time I did Governors. I was like, wait, are you guys the fancy? And they're like, we are not. We are not the fancy. We are the normal.
Yes, there's the normal, definitely normal blue collar side of Long Island. All the fancy people are like all gravitate towards like the North Shore. I would say we're on the South Shore.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's literally split up, and it was so funny. I didn't know all kinds of things. I didn't know about Long Island, and then I did the club, and one of them was that Herman Melville was from there, and Walt Whitman.
Yes.
And I forget who said when I got off stage, and I was talking about it on stage, and somebody said, "Hey, most of the people here think that that's the mall. Why don't you just why don't you just do your jokes?" And
yeah, we have the Walt Whitman Mall, and a whole town of town of Melville has been named after.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are famous those are famous American authors. Those are gems.
Yeah.
That the world is super proud.
Yes.
And
and right here from the lovely Long Island.
Yeah, from right where y'all live.
There's another great comedian that a lot of Long Island comedians, a lot of comedians come from here, but a lot of people don't realize Lenny Bruce was from here.
I have a reputation for being sort of controversial and irreverent, and also the semantic bear trap of bad taste.
Yeah,
you know what? I think I do know that because of his album. My favorite bit of Lenny Bruce's, a lot of people don't, and I didn't know anything about him when I first started doing stand-up. I didn't know anything about stand-up, but Lima, Ohio. Have you ever heard the bit about Lima, Ohio? It was about him being trapped in Lima, Ohio for 2 weeks.
Right.
And he met the only Jewish couple who lived in Lima, Ohio. And one of them, like the guy comes up to him after his show and he goes, "So where are you from?" And he goes, "Long Island." And the guy goes, "So you Jewish?" And like there's this awesome weird pause that just it cracks. But my favorite part of it is not that part. It's the part where the guy calls him the next morning, like 14 hours, to ask him because he's going to eat with him. I don't want to ruin it. Go look it up. Lima, Ohio.
Don't bother me. What do you know? Esta quinela, esta caliente recha que esta Tijuana. Don't bother me. Give me the rubber band for my ponytail. That's what
Lenny Bruce.
The great Lenny Bruce, yes, Long Island's own. No, but like you're hearing all these things now in the COVID era of LA and people fleeing and all that kind of stuff. And
people are talking about everybody's leaving. People are fleeing.
Joe Rogan is leaving Los Angeles.
A person like Elon Musk saying no to California.
You love California, but you are seriously considering leaving the state.
So this is what's going on. I am leaving California.
I love the state of California, but they do not want me here.
I, like many others, have gotten out of California.
That is a bit of a lie. You know who's trying to make that a truth though? Real estate agents.
Yeah, they're trying to get everyone to buy them up and make it a buyer's market.
You want to sell your house? You're thinking about moving to North Carolina? I know a lot of guys moving to North Carolina. You moving to Nashville? Where are you going? And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I live in a 1-story house, which means that I will live here until I die.
Right.
Because that's where old people should live, in a 1-story ticky-tacky. It looks like my house looks like those houses on the Monopoly board. That's what.
Nice.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks exactly like
that's
that house.
Awesome.
and my husband bought it, and then I married him, and now I half own it, and it's worth absolutely more money than it should ever be worth. There's no reason why. It's 966 square feet. I believe it's worth $500,000.
Wow.
Right. I don't know.
It is like Monopoly. It's just like
Right. Yeah. We can't go anywhere. I mean, I suppose we could go buy a compound in the middle of Arkansas, but I mean, it's not. Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere.
I guess the comedy scene's pretty much shut down over there too, right? Because we're shut down here. Nothing indoors.
Nothing indoors. A lot of outdoors. A lot of people pretending that there's no stand-up comedy going on. Things that people, like a year ago, the coolest comics in the world would be like, I'm not performing in your backyard. I'm not performing on a drive-in theater. What am I, an animal? And now they're like, who books that? Who books that?
It was the great equalizer in a lot of ways.
Really?
It leveled the playing ground for stand-ups in a lot of ways. Have you seen that? I mean,
I have. I've seen it for myself, just because there's a lot of clubs. Like I work 35 normal years in 35, 45 weeks a year. I try to do 35. I always end up with 42. I'm like, please stay home. Like I've been 7 months with my husband, and this is a year that will go in infamy as the most glorious year of my life. He is a good guy. What a nice man.
There you go. See that? Really you got to know him again.
Yeah. Really interesting. Reintroducing myself to that fella. And so, but the crazy thing is that there's so many clubs that don't. There's plenty of clubs that also don't book me, right? I mean, I work plenty, but there's plenty of, and that's true of all comics, right? So, since March, I got off the road March 15th, March 17th or 18th, I was doing Zoom shows because I need comedy. Need to stop the voices. Hello, it's me, Jackie Cation. I'm going to host more Minneapolis Comics, wherein we all split the money and get to do stand-up comedy for you who get to stay at home, and we all get to be safe. This is not my real hair. And I'm also working on a new album, and have been for the last 2.5 years, which when I went into quarantine was an hour long and needed 15 minutes of work to bring it down to 45. 7 months later, it's an hour and a half long, and it needs, I have to work it down to 20 minutes of chaff. Anyway, so, I have to say that I've been doing shows, 4 or 5 Zoom shows a week, making some weeks more money than I make headlining on the road.
Wow.
And some weeks not, but it literally depends how much work I'm willing to put into it. Right. And but it's my work, I could put the work in. I've never wanted to be a booker. I've never wanted to work this hard in my life. I just want to go up and tell jokes. Scoop about Atlantic City. The Monopoly board is named after Atlantic City. Did you know that? Yeah, the Monopoly board. So when you're walking around Atlantic City, you are walking on Boardwalk to like Park Place. And then you see Marvin Gardens, and you see Indiana and Illinois, the red tiles. It's hilarious. So I was walking, you know how I found out? I was almost crushed by a giant shoe. I change every Sunday. I do a show, and I call it Sunday Services. Sunday come to meeting. Right. And sometimes it's in the morning because I got fans in Australia. And nice. Sometimes it's at night because I got fans in Australia. Whatever. I changed the times because of where people, like some people are in the middle of Europe, some people are in London.
So you're playing for the time zones.
Yeah, I mix it up. So everybody, you can wake up and watch some stand-up if you want. You can wake up at 3 and some people are setting an alarm at 3 in the morning and watching. And I'm like,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other weird thing is I've had probably a core group of about 80 people who come every Sunday. And I'm like, I am working on the same hour and a half. I am so sorry. And they're like, this is fascinating. I get to see it tighten up.
Yeah, right. They're loving the process, and that's something you don't get to see unless you go to the clubs every single night, like as a fan. But now people could actually sit and watch you work on your material and build it and craft it. That's pretty cool.
Right. And the other thing is, there's a lot of people who come to these shows that all they have is internet. Like they live in the middle of Canada. They live in rural Alabama or Arkansas or North Dakota. And they get comedy, like there might be a Mueller run, right? There might be a Tribble or Yoder does a Wednesday right by the Air Force base,
And now, like, did you think that you would have been able to reach these audiences in Australia and worldwide had it not been for this situation?
It's definitely broadened, like I have, it hasn't blown up. Like it's not hundreds of thousands of people, but 5,000 or 6,000 people. It's not 20 grand. It's not 100 grand. I haven't broken 1 million.
Right.
But quite honestly, there's so much work in general that can be niche, right? Like somebody with an Etsy or your eBay where you're like, I got action figures. There's 1 million of them, right? I'm selling them on eBay. And then all of a sudden, hundreds of people that you wouldn't have known. So I think that there's 10,000 people for each and every single person on the planet.
I like that. I gotta find my 10,000 still.
Exactly. Find your 10 or 11,000 people. Have them give you $10 a year, and then you can sit pretty good.
Yeah. So I think there has been some positives to this scenario where it has enabled us all to be more computer savvy, but also reaching farther audiences. Work on your material. You have more time to kind of craft your stuff, and I think that's cool. And you've been kind of in the podcast game for a long time with the Dork Forest.
The Dork Forest, it's actually the 14th year.
Oh, I
forgot to change that on my website. But it's because the anniversary's in September. And it's just October now. Yeah.
So 14 years doing this, and throughout the years, there've been a lot more podcasts that have been blooming, but now it's been like, everybody's got one. Is that something that, how do you feel about that?
I know. Somebody, there was a friend of mine said, that other podcast is just the Dork Forest, but with a different host or with a twist. And I was like, because I just saw one that had a great twist. I was like, well, I can't say that I invented interviewing nerds about what they love, Right. And the definition, of course, of nerds being so broad. Like this week, it's boats. That's that's the coolest thing in the world. It's Lisa Curry talking about boats.
Whoever the boat captain is just steering, and you're managing the sails, and they're shouting at you, and you're like, ah!
Next week is a true. It's Amber Preston talking about church cookbooks, and then the following week it's a guy in Houston, Texas, talking about his 3D printer, and he prints minifigs for Gloomhaven.
Oh,
anyway,
wow. Yeah.
So I mean, it's traditional nerd stuff, and then it's also absolutely anything. It could be the fact that you collect bees or whatever, but I don't. I do genuinely think that there's 10 or 11,000 people for every artist and people that can support that,
Right.
Because like my Sunday shows are $5. That's what I was like, give me something like $5. I'll send you the link. It'll all work out. Everyone has $5.
Right.
Everyone who has the internet, shall we say, has $5 that they spend on a cup of coffee or that they're willing to light on fire by watching me work on a different 40 minutes that I did last week, where I worked on the other 40 minutes.
So how's that work? When you're doing the Sunday show, are you on a set, or are you doing it right where you are now, or how's it like?
Right where I am now. I stand up.
That's cool.
And then there's the background right there. It's got my name on it right there. See just mine, whatever. Anyway, so I stand up. I got a mic. I don't use the gaming headset.
Right.
And then but my new favorite thing, because it's so lonely, right? It's obviously, we all have to be able to walk out of our homes when this is over. whole people, an entire human being, please. I would
Not
like
just this. Nobody knows what the bottom half looks like anymore.
Oh, you don't want to see the bottom half of whatever's happening here. There's been some eating problems where I'm just like, okay. So, but the weird thing is, so I've been inviting. Initially, I would just invite one comic that I wanted to see what they were working on, and also Misery Loves Company. I wanted more people to do Zoom shows, and so, but now I have 2 people doing 10s, and then. The younger comics, the comics that are coming up, have been showing up at the shows, going, I do stand up, and I'm like, wow, I'm now a place where you can come and hang out and spend $5 to get in, and then tell me and hope for a set, and I'm like, oh Christ, what have I done to myself here? Except for that. I can give somebody 5 minutes. What, it's going to kill me? I can get, if I give one of the up and comers 5 minutes, we all sit through it. Everybody has to learn how to do stand-up comedy somewhere.
There you go.
And then I have 2 people I want to see do 10 minutes each. And then I work on my 40, and the same 60 or 30 or 80 people, whoever comes, right? They get to see someone else besides me work on other material.
That's pretty cool. And like you said about new comics, it's got to be weird if you're literally like your very first stand-up ever was on Zoom. Like that, there's got to be a whole new breed of comedians.
Hello, yes, testing, test, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hi, everyone. I see everyone logged on here. Welcome to the Friday Night Live Jam Sessions.
There's so many weird things where you're like, this is the time when you want to do something and you're going to do it over Zoom. Think about like kids who are going to kindergarten for the first time.
Yeah.
This is it. Think about people who are like trying to get sober, going to like an AA meeting. And this is it.
Oh, stay safe. Everybody stay safe. Everybody staying safe. Oh.
The poor bastards who do music because of the lag, you can't jam.
Right, yeah.
You can only do solo work unless you know how to edit like a bastard, right?
Yeah, or really configure the mics or something. But yeah. There's a lot to it if you want to put music's rough on Zoom, yeah.
Yeah, because you got a guitar in the background, so it looks like you play.
Oh, this is this background is actually Wayne's World. This is the Wayne's World.
Oh, look
set.
at that shark! It's did you get the new version of Zoom? Because my current favorite background, they have these new things called filters.
Right.
And here's my new favorite thing: mid-century chair, Don. Mid-century chair. That's ridiculous.
For no reason, there's a chair there. You gotta love it.
Mid-century chair. Let's do it.
We gotta figure out how to get somebody sitting in that chair.
Yeah, I want to superimpose a Lego.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but is there a difference between dorks and nerds and geeks? Is it all the same, or is it
all the same?
They're all the same.
It's whatever word you're using. The reason I called it the Dork Forest was back in the late 90s, and in my 2003 half-hour special, Comedy Central. Find it. Anyway, if you go to my Instagram, I have a clip, but I don't think I have the Dork Forest clip. I used to do a bit about, it was on like, I think my second album. So I'm willing to hang out with all people. I love people. I'll hang out with nerds and dorks and geeks and whatever. But I found a line in the sand where I had to stop, and then the setup was, how deep into the dork forest do I have to go to find someone I wouldn't hang out with? And then I list many things, and then I tell whatever, the joke happens. But the dork forest made me laugh, just the idea that there would be something called a dork forest. Hi, I'm Jackie Cation, and I'm your guide on this expedition into the dork forest.
What's your dorkiest thing? What are you really into?
I love, I am, the thing is it's always nice when it's kind of embarrassing, when you're kind of like, I'm sorry, I love this. But so I love things. And like once Kathy Ladman was like, I would talk about knitting, except for that knitting is cool. And I said, no, it isn't. But okay.
Right. See, if you really love something, you think it's cool. Yeah.
Right. The thing that I love that I know is not cool are romance novels.
Let me tell you something. People get on stage all over the world. Comics do, and they talk about their love of porn and drugs, and audiences are like, interesting, fascinating. I get up, I admit that I occasionally read some poorly written prose, and there is some judgment.
That's not cool. It turns out. What it is, though, is it's super empowering, Don. I don't know if you know this, but romance novels are written for women about women. And they're by women. So it's all just a nice, anyway.
Only with Mills and Boone will you discover your kind of romance.
In other news, some of them are super sexy. Okay, so it's like porn. It's no different than people who like
it is
porn.
kind of like I remember a long time ago, actually, my friend's mother had a big collection of romance novels, and she had a bookcase in the garage full of them, and they were all paperbacks, well thumbed through. She must have read each one numerous times, and we read one, and wow, we were me and my friends, we couldn't believe it.
Yeah. You're like, wow, this is a nice lady, and she's reading about this business.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And they take some hardcore stuff, but they write so beautifully about how hardcore it is. It's a weird blend.
And some of them are better written than other ones. I mean, the thing is they're all at this juncture, like when I first started reading them. And I would like to say, Katie Bachman, 8th grade, thanks a lot for costing me thousands of dollars and making me never finish Moby Dick. So Long Island, shout out. But I will say this though, is that his mom had them because there are some that you keep and reread, and they're either funny, well written, or they're super good sex scenes, and those are the reasons. That's the reasons you keep them, and you do the reread. I probably own 50. I've probably bought 6,000, and so sometimes you throw them out. Sometimes, like if I'm on the road, I'll read them, like between 3 and 6 on the road. You're sitting in your hotel room, taking a nap, and then and you're reading it. And if it's super bad, you skim, you get to the end, you're like, ugh. And then I just whip it across the room toward the garbage. And then I hope that the person who cleans the room likes that. Because Maria Bamford used to try to buy me romance novels, and I was like, it would be like me trying to buy someone porn. You can't do it.
Right, you can't.
Very specific. You know what the ones I like? This isn't cool at all. I like historical romance novels set in England between 1790 and 1890. And so I don't know anything about this. It literally, it was created, Jane Austen in 1815 wrote those books that have been made into movies over and over and again, Pride and Prejudice and all that.
Right. Yeah.
She didn't write Regency romance, historical romance novels. She wrote a romance novel of her time, and it wasn't a romance novel. It was just a slice of life. It created a genre. It was in 1920. This woman, Georgette Heyer, decided she wanted to write like Jane Austen. So she set them in 1815. And I'm sure Jane Austen, who is dead, of course, by this time, was like, the hell is she doing? Like, I mean, why don't you write about 1920? What are you doing?
Right.
And Georgette Heyer wrote from like 1925 to 1970, and then she died. I own all of her movies, all of her books. They are in this bookcase.
Wow. I never I knew that there was a romance novel that people love them, and there was a it's a thing, you know what I mean?
It's a thing.
But I didn't know now it's more specific. England, Victorian times.
Oh, they could be about anything. Did you want a bisexual vampire who falls in love with a non-binary whatever it is, who wants to dress up like a rabbit, someone has written that book for you.
Do you ever go off and like read a different romance novel set somewhere else? No, you're strict about it.
You know, Audible hired me to write essentially. They wanted me to write a funny romance novel, but because it's Audible, owned by Amazon, and Amazon makes $1 gajillion on romance novels, they were like, it can't be mean, it has to be nice.
Right.
And I was like, okay, and they're like, that's why we're asking you, because we know you love them. And so I made the job twice as hard as it had to be. But if I ever do write this thing, what I would have to write, this is what I wanted to write, which is why it didn't work, right?
Okay.
Because I made the job way too hard. But the thing is you've seen Galaxy Quest, right?
Yeah, great movie.
By the sons of Warvan, I shall avenge you.
Such a great movie.
It was.
So here's what it is, though. It is a Star Trek movie that makes fun of Star Trek and is Star Trek.
Right.
and loves the fans and loves the genre and is good at both of those two things. And that's what I would want to write as a romance novel. Well, hell of a bar, right? I mean, that. And then I tried to turn it into a historical romance. I have never written a romance. I've never written a novel.
Right.
I want to have written a novel.
Right.
It turns out they just paid me for the spec, and I took that money. And then I was like, and then they read the spec, and they were like, "Yeah, this isn't it." And I was like, "You are correct. You are correct."
Did you set it in England and everything? You like?
Yes. It was terrible. I have a new idea for it, that if I ever do write the Galaxy Quest of romance novels, it's going to be Elon Musk and J.K. Rowling fall in love, and it's on an island off of Vietnam for some reason.
I would buy that. I would watch that. I would do everything.
Right, and they both become better people. That's what happens. They both become better people.
What is that actually happened?
Well, this is great, Jackie. I love that I had the opportunity to talk with you. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
And I learned so much about you. Now I'm going to go dig up and find a romance novel about England and get into it.
Sure. If you go to my Twitter, my pinned tweet, actually, I ripped my DVD, which is not my last album, Hero, but the album before that, which was called This Will Make an Excellent Horcrux. I ripped that DVD and I put it on YouTube unlisted because I do sell the DVD, but it felt like I ripped it in March and I just posted it because people could use some comedy.
Yes.
So feel free, if you want, to go to the pinned tweet on my Twitter. Anybody can just watch it's an hour of stand-up, and hopefully you enjoy it. And yeah.
And that's on your Twitter? So
that's on my Twitter. Yeah.
Jackie Cation.
Yeah. That's all it is.
It's
It's just
Twitter.
at Jackie Cation on Twitter.
And then also go to her website and the Dork Forest, and also the
Jackie and Laurie show.
Jackie and Laurie show. So you got a lot going on, and the Sunday show. I think
And
everybody
the Sunday Zoom.
I would love that, because a lot of people watching this are stand-up fans who would love to watch you work in your craft. That would be terrific.
Oh my God. Sign up for the email list on JackieCation.com. Do what you got to do. But whatever it is, just take care of yourselves. Take care of somebody in front of you. You can do it. I believe in all of you.
Yes, and we believe in you, Jackie. Good luck with everything. You're awesome, and I appreciate you taking the time. Jackie Cation, everyone.
My name is Silvio Dante. My friend Don Sill, he's got a great show. What's it called?
Put up, stand up, and shut up. No, put up, shut up, and stand up. I keep getting that wrong.
Put up, what is it again?
Put up, shut up, and stand up.
I don't know the name of it, but everybody else does.
Put up, shut up, or stand up. Right? Put up, shut up, stand up. Put up, stand up, and shut up.
We'll start over.
Put up, stand up, shut up.
Put up, shut up, and stand up. You gotta watch Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up with Don Sills. We just had a fucking blast.
That's what I thought. Put up, shut up, stand up. That's what I was gonna say.
All right, everybody. As you know, last week, President Trump has announced that he and the First Lady and a lot of members of the cabinet and a lot of important people in the administration and the Senate and the Congress all have COVID. it's just craziness. The COVID has finally reached our leaders. So now to help come up with a cure, our very own Professor Fedora is there on the scene. He's in Washington. He's working on doing this. Professor Fedora, thank you for joining us. How's everything going, man?
And we're very busy over here, Don. And I don't even know why you're calling me at this hour. You know I got to get the cure ready for the president.
I know you're very busy, and I really do appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to talk with us and kind of keep us up to date with what's going on. How long have you been involved with working with the president?
And since day one, I've been doing this since February. And everybody keeps on thinking it's that Dr. Fauci guy. It has nothing to do with Fauci.
Wow, really? So you've been doing all the heavy lifting all this time?
Once I lift things up, I put them down. My brother on the commercial.
How close are we to having a vaccine or a cure?
Well, I've gone ahead and I've gotten some very serious products. And some of the products that you might have heard the president himself mention himself. Once I've gone ahead and I've gotten some of the Clorox.
Very nice.
Yes. And just in case that, once I know that the millennials, they've been doing the TikTok and the challenges. And I never hear about any of them getting sick. So just in case, once I've gotten the Tide Pods.
in case they wanted to do the Tide Pod challenge while they were in isolation.
Once we go ahead, we expanded the budget to no end, to find anything and everything to find a cure, because he wanted me to have it by, excuse me, my poker is poking me. He wanted to have, don't laugh at that. He wanted to have it ready for like November 3rd around the election. He's like, now he wants it right away. He's so pushy.
Yeah, now that he, unfortunately has it, and I just want everybody to know that we wish the president and everybody who has COVID a speedy recovery. We hope they get through it safely. And so now that he has it, the stress levels have went up in your world. They want this immediately, I would suppose.
Yes, he does. I work tirelessly day and night. I don't even have a lunch break. I couldn't even have some bratwurst earlier. I couldn't even do that. She's like, oh, we got to have it ready. Let's go ahead. And I just got done having a big debate with Mr. Biden and his bow hunter over. I don't have time for this. Once he wants to have everything ready. So I even went ahead and I got little packets. I don't even know what's in here. I don't know. But once he wants me to use the homeless as guinea pig. Would you believe that?
Wow, really? He wants you to test it out on the homeless people first before it goes to him?
I don't know. I put some stuff in this Poland spring water. I don't know what it is.
So you're testing out his...
I don't know.
Was there any bleach in that, Professor Fedora?
I don't know. Listen, we're on a tight budget. I've been using Dixie cups to stir my mixture. I put a little bit. I stir it. The budget's so tight in my office. I couldn't even afford wallpaper to do my interview with you.
Wow, I heard that Trump is using currently some experimental drugs right now. How is that working?
Thanks to me.
Right, the stuff that you probably helped him create. How is it working? Is he doing well?
Once I noticed that he's gone a couple of shades lighter than the orange. But you haven't noticed. Because once again, the bleaching agent.
Wow. So the bleaching agent will also literally bleach his skin as well.
Once if he doesn't get cured, at least he'll be like not a Cheeto.
Well, Professor Fedora, I do want to thank you on behalf of the American country for all your help.
You're welcome, Doctor.
What you gonna just keep pulling all-nighters and making this happen?
Do you see the bags under my eyes? I have the Queen's Royal luggage underneath my eyes from all this work. Are you kidding me? Am I working all night? I can't sit here and be on a pursuit every week like you. And no, I got a lot of hard work to do.
Well,
yeah, what?
I was gonna say, I'll let you get to work and save lives.
I only got one life to worry about. He doesn't even care about Melania. He's like, it's me first.
Well, very good, Professor Fedora. Thank you, Professor Fedora, everyone.
What's that I see on the TV? Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up is on the TV. Make sure you tune in and subscribe. Don and Benny, they're awesome.
Here, welcome back. We're at Looney Tunes with the owner of Looney Tunes, Carl. What's your last name, Carl?
Groger.
Carl Groger. And man, what a great store this is.
Thank you.
This is legendary, this place. I used to come here all the time. Then I moved south and I'm back. And I'm happy to be back. How long have you owned?
My dad opened up the store in 1971. And my brother and I took over the store in roughly 88, 89.
Wow. So yeah, well, back in the day when I was writing for Good Times Magazine, I used to come here a lot. I've seen like Stained was here,
Yep.
Taking Back Sunday. That was the era when I was writing for the magazine. But you must have seen a lot of rock and roll come through here.
Sure.
Who are some of the bands that have come through here and you've done things with?
Wow, that's hard to just pick a few. You know, we've been here 49 years, like you said. We had a little stage in the store. We still do, and hopefully starting next year we can start to do live acts again. We bring a lot of artists in for autograph signings and performances, and had about almost 500 bands come through here over the last 50 years. But you mentioned Stained. We had done that on top of the roof. I remember that was one of the biggest in-stores in the history of the music industry. We had 7,500 people come. They had played up on top of the roof. They were the #1 band in the world at the time. They had just done MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
They were on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, #1 record in the world.
That was a great time. I was here for that one.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Now, being also a legendary record store here on Long Island, you must have a soft spot for Long Island-based bands.
Absolutely.
So as that goes, what do you think about the Long Island rock scene? Are we making a comeback? How are we doing?
I think, the Long Island music scene's always been really, really solid. We always do our best to try to support local bands. We have a nice local band section in the store. We have a consignment. We have over 400 artists on consignment. Any bands that are trying to, get their start in the music industry, we're always here to help them in any way, shape, or form. And a lot of them have gone on to, be huge bands.
Awesome. You heard it with Carl, Looney Tunes. This is awesome. Hey, Carl, you want to see what's coming up next on our show?
Sure.
Yeah, right here.
We just had this little trend on Facebook of everybody posting their senior portraits. This one lady posted a picture of her senior portrait, and I was like, oh my God, you look exactly the same. And she was like, oh, you're so sweet, thank you so much. And I was like, no, you were just a really, really old looking 18-year-old.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and our next guest is the very funny comedian and artist straight out of J-City. That's right, New Jersey. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Kate Hester. Kate, how you doing? How's everything?
Hi, Don. I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Doing great. I'm so happy to finally be able to talk to you on the show. You've been on the show a few times. You've given us jokes to play. You've been a part of some of our sketches, and now here you are in the flesh via Zoom.
Yeah, thank you so much. Because of you and Benny, I've met so many amazing comedians through Put Up, Shut Up, Stand Up, and I'm so grateful that you guys opened that up to me. Like, that was a real gift. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah, well that's awesome that it worked out that way, and that's what we love to do here at Pasusu. We
Right?
love to spread the magic across the state borders and bring in our new friends from all over the place. Have you ever had an opportunity to perform on Long Island yet?
No, I've only been to Long Island like twice in my entire life.
Really?
I don't know why. I guess, I don't know. I guess when you live in New Jersey, like Long Island seems like it's like 5 hours away, when in fact it's like 90 minutes at the most. But
yeah.
I don't know. I guess all my friends who live there, we just meet in Manhattan,
Yeah. That's it. Because the one thing we have in common is, to Manhattanites, is we're bridge and tunnel people.
Yeah.
But we do. We're about the same distance from the city, just coming in from different sides.
Yeah,
and I think New Jersey people and Long Island people are very similar. Even the accents are pretty similar.
Very similar. Yeah, totally super similar people.
What do you get when you cross an accountant with a giant jet airplane? A boring 747.
There's like a nice little comedy scene here that's, you know, it's been here for a while, and then, you know, the stupid pandemic, but it's picking up again.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how's life been for you in these last 6 or 7 months now with the COVID and just kind of going through it all with things being closed down, comedy being closed down, and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I was just picking up momentum. Like, I was just starting to get shows without begging and pleading. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That was just starting to happen for me in March. Like, it was the beginning of March, and I started getting asked to do shows. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting asked to do shows without begging and pleading, you know? So I was not going to lose that momentum. I was like, F this. I am not letting this be taken from me. So I jumped into the COVID Zoom comedy as hard as I possibly could. I mean, what else? What else was I going to do? And I have a couple friends who were like, I don't want to do Zoom. It's not the same. It sucks. And now here we are all these months later, and the scene has moved on and they've been left behind. I'm like,
that's the thing. You have to be on the curve or ahead of the curve or catch the curve when things like this happen, because everything's changed. Yeah. Like, we didn't know what Zoom was 8 months ago. No. Whoever would have thought if I would have said, hey, I'll do a Zoom show. People will be like, what are you talking about? But now it's normal. It's become the thing to do. So you kind of have to ride the wave and then reinvent your comedy, reinvent yourself, reinvent the audience and how it's going to work. So
totally,
I think the Zoom culture that's been created is here to stay even after we get back to normal. I still think people are going to still do this forum, this whole format, because you also do stand-up, but you do a show, right? You have your own podcast.
Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Artisan Comics. I'm your coast to coast host, Kate Hester.
I kind of like let that slide a little bit. I let the podcast slide.
Right.
It stressed me out a lot. You know, I work for the government and I work with children. So I'd have these comics on and they would say stuff and I'd be like, this guy's gonna get me fired from my job, you know? So I was like, you know, I think I'm just going to be on other people's podcasts and I'm not in control of any of this, you know?
Yeah. So, that's a good point, because, you know, one of the side effects of Zoom is that anybody can kind of log in and watch and then see a different side of you. Like, if your day job, they might not know the comedian side of Kate Hester, that, you know? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, what is this?
Yeah, we were supposed to get a pension on the 6th day, and he laid most of us off on the 5th day.
There's a very few are starting to pick up on it at that, like, wait a minute, that the girl in pedestrian safety does stand up, you know, and this one guy, like the head, because I had to do a sketch recently for a pro composting video, because I work for like the Improvement Authority in New Jersey. So we do like pro environmental stuff, pro public transportation, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So they were like, oh, the pedestrian safety girl is a stand-up comic. You know, she can do the part of the banana. Because I had to dress up as a banana and be like, we love composting, you know? The head director, the big guy, like my great grand boss, was like, oh, we're going to have to come see your act, I guess, aren't we? And I was just like, no, I talk about drinking semen. No, you're not coming to see my act, great grand boss.
I would love to go see the great grand boss's reaction to that, to the semen drinking joke.
I'm horny.
Hope it never ever happens.
He might get a kick out of it. He might be like, oh, that Kate with her.
Oh, that Kate loves sucking dicks.
Old man is horny.
He really is
True.
into it.
But you know, I don't bring that into my pedestrian
Right, yeah,
safety
you
job.
know, yeah.
I leave that at home.
There you go. Or on Zoom. Either way,
Yeah,
it's fine.
there you go.
But also we found out that Donald Trump has tested COVID positive. What do you think of like our leader right now has the COVID?
I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out.
Does that scare you? Or
No.
do you think he's going to be fine? Or
I think he's going to be just fine. He never pays consequences for any. If you could probably tell, I'm not a fan, just based on my screaming liberal appearance. I'm not a fan. I don't think he's going to pay. He never pays consequences for anything. He just floats through life without ever getting in trouble for anything, ever. So he's going to be just fine, which pisses me off because, you know, I've had good friends actually die from this, and they took good care of themselves. And this Big Mac eating motherfucker is just going to fucking skate through it like it's a cold, you know?
It's true. There are certain people like Donald Trump. I would say Howard Stern also. There's guys that just say and do things and karma never comes knocking. They never have to answer for karma.
Never. And all the religious wackos who love him, like you to think that like the whole like porn star with the pregnant wife would have been enough. Nope, it wasn't. They were just like, Jesus wanted him to have sex with a porn star. Jesus sent him that porn star, you know? What? But a lot of religious wackos like super hate women. So you never know. They would probably be like, well, even though she just pushed out a child, she probably wasn't taking care of his needs. Yeah. And, you know, Donnie needs his dick touched. So.
Why do you think though? Like, why does he get a pass? It is weird when you say it. Like, you know, like he doesn't pay consequences. He's just, you know, and it's not because of the money, because there's lots of rich people that have going down. Yeah. In this Me Too, you know, woke culture these days is cancel culture. And he just seems to be getting away with it. I wonder, what is it? Like, that's something we have to...
He either made a deal with the devil or he is the devil. It's one or the other. Like, you remember that show V from the 80s?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
The lizard underneath? Like, he's V. He's from V.
They've come to rape our planet and kill us. They are not who they appear to be. This is what they are. It's just a trick.
You know?
I think there's something to this.
So peel his skin off. It's gonna be all lizardy, and it's like
all this, you know? Like the QAnon stuff, where everyone's talking about, you know, all these celebs and that Trump is out there defending. Have you heard of any of this Q stuff?
Yes.
I'm kind of new to it. And
yeah, you know, unfortunately, I have a family member who is neck deep in it, and you know, I've unfollowed him.
All these elite celebrity types, they're all into the pedophilia. Donny Osmond, Marie Osmond, Dick Smothers, and the fellow who played Dudley on Different Strokes. He's in charge of everything, really.
That's nuts.
Do you ever think there might be truth to it?
No.
You never say, well...
My Tom Hanks, I love Tom Hanks. Oh my God, I've seen Splash like 1,000 times. So there's no way Tom Hanks is involved in it. There's no eating babies.
There's no crying when you eat babies?
Nobody eats babies. Just stop, you know?
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Like, I can't believe we're back in sweaters again. Like when this started, my Zoom shows are all I'm in a sweater because it's cold. It's
yeah, right.
And now we're back. I'm wearing sweaters again. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm back in a sweater again.
Yeah, we're still in the same predicament. I mean, yeah, things are now opened up. Is a little bit different. It's not that I don't think people are as afraid as they were in the beginning. You know, there's toilet paper available now. So
yeah, like what was that?
Yeah, it was just
but
crazy.
You know, the numbers are going up in Jersey City again. So that's to get back to where we started with the whole like comedy and Zoom. This is coming back again. So you got to jump into the Zoom thing because winter's coming. So the outdoor shows are gonna suck. I don't know how many outdoor shows you've been to or performed in, but they suck. It's like 54 degrees up there on those roofs and the wind is whipping down and like I have to pee. You're peeing in the woods of these parks in Brooklyn. It's all in Brooklyn. You know, I've traveled 2 hours to get there and now I'm looking for a place to pee. I'm picking like the nicest looking lady in the audience. Like, can you come watch me pee in the bushes, please? You know? So you got to hop on the Zoom thing. The train is left without you.
Yeah, and it's good that you're ahead of that. But talking about, I know I saw some images of you. You did a rooftop show. You've been doing these outdoor shows. So it's good that you're getting out there and doing your craft. And how does it feel to be in front of an audience versus, you know, the Zoom culture? Even though with Zoom, you do have an audience, just a different type. It's a different style. Like
it's different and it's much quieter. You know, I mean, I'm finding that there's pros and cons in both. Like when you have a great set in front of real people, that's like a high that you can't get elsewhere. We showed up, it was this great spot in Brooklyn. It's called the Tiny Cupboard. And it's like the hottest spot to have a show right now. So I was asked to be in a show there and I was like super psyched. You don't say no. If they say yes, you get your ass there. It's 2 hours away. It's like 4 trains for me. I took the journey. My Sherpa and I took the journey together. And once you get there, there is this like metal staircase on the side of the building. It's like a fire escape staircase. And it's kind of terrifying.
And that's how you get up there, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of scary. And I used to work on a construction crew when I was in college. I was painted houses. So I've got over a fear of heights and just do what you have to do. Just fucking do it, you know?
Right.
And because you can't be on a crew, can be the only female on a construction crew and be like, I don't want to go up the ladder. Like, that's not how feminism works. You have to get your ass up the ladder. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I show up with the two other comics and they hated heights, like hate heights. And it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing getting up the stairs. And, but we did it. They did it. We did it together. We were a team. No comic left behind. It was like a Vietnam movie. I'm like, I'm not leaving you here, man. We're getting you up those stairs. We're doing it. We're doing it. You don't get a show at the Tiny Cupboard and then not do the show because you were afraid of the stairs. You're getting up the fucking stairs. So we got up there together as a team and it was all good.
It's a whole adventure just before you even start the show.
A whole adventure. Yeah. So then I get up there and I'm like, I forgot every joke I've ever written. You know? So of course I'm like obsessing over my notes and it was good. It went well. I did good. I might have sworn a little too much though. I swear a lot when I get nervous. And then you can't send those videos to festivals. They want it to be as clean as possible. So I'm like, well, there goes that.
But have you ever gone up completely cold with no material, like, and just winged it?
No, I know. I'm a writer. My stuff is well written in advance and memorized and practiced, and you know, I'm a joke writer. I don't get up there and just riff. I barely do crowd work. Barely. You know, I'm a joke writer. That's how I write. Right. And then I get up there and I read to you my writings. I wonder what the legal percentage of Oompa Loompa hair and feces that's allowed in each Wonka candy bar. Agency that keeps tabs on that.
So you're right with the like word for word, like memorized, or do you kind of go off script a little bit? Or
I try to word for word memorize, which I know other comics are like, you can't do that, man. It'll trip you up or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm not going to get up there like you and be like, hey, nice tits. Where are you from? Miami? Like,
yeah. Well, like Seinfeld's like that. He's meticulous with the words, and he'll tell you when he's a wordsmith and a craftsman. Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, yes.
So to me, he's the quintessential. There's a lot of guys like him that do that. Like you're like that, you know, and where where you write the jokes a certain way, and that's the way you want them. You don't want to, if the word is like, if you're doing a joke about fish or whatever, you want like, what's a funny sounding fish name? You don't want to go with, with flounder. So, so everything, every word matters.
Yeah.
So like, he would prefer to go, with a red snapper or something like that, because it sounds funnier.
That was a good Seinfeld.
I don't know.
But yeah, no, my stuff is written and then rewritten and then written again and crossed out and written again, and I practice the shit out of that stuff. And if I try it out like 3 or 4 times and I'm not getting the type of laugh I want, I cut it, like, done.
Completely kill it, or you try to rewrite it?
It all depends on how good the premise is. Like, I thought I had a great joke. Like, the whole, like, Alex has started ordering. Plus, it also has to do with how fast the news is going right now. Like, already, everyone's forgotten who Bob Woodward is.
Yeah.
No one knows who Bob Woodward is anymore. It's already been a whole 10 days.
That story came and went.
It came and went.
Yep.
So, I had this joke, like, Alex has been ordering all this survivalist gear off the internet, which is true. Alex is a prepper now.
He's getting prepared.
The pandemic broke his brain, and now the end of the world is coming. So he has to order all the solar powered water heaters or whatever,
Right.
So all this prepper gear is coming to the house. And I'm like, honey, what's going on? What do you know that I don't know? Or do I have to wait 6 months for your book to come out? Am I getting woodwarded? Are you woodwarding me? And I thought that was a great joke, and it got a good response on social media and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm up there performing it, and everyone's like,
who?
Who's that? Yeah. What's this prepper? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't do that joke anymore. People have already forgotten who Bob Woodward is.
The news cycle is flying by, and there's also news that's going under the radar. I've mentioned this a lot, is like, they found UFOs on Earth and they have them, and the military has admitted that there's potential space aliens have been here, and we just rather argue about masks.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's aliens here, man. This is big news.
I've barely heard about the aliens.
So I'm saying it's not even like never talked about. You never see in like, CNN or Fox News. They're completely ignoring the whole space aliens thing.
Please, no. We mean you no harm. We traveled to your planet to find an evil little girl. We must destroy her before 7 days.
I believe that, comedy needs to push the line, and because comedians are the last source of the truth, really, and honesty is said in jest, and we need that, and all that kind of stuff. But the consequences that are now are crazy, man, and like, where it will cost your whole career.
Yeah. That's why I stopped doing my podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. I stopped it. And because, I'm a huge supporter of the LGBTQ community here, and I'm asked to host their events. I host the Doggy Fashion Show. Right. So like, I stay away from any type of
But can't you be a supporter of them, as long as the joke, like, if I make a joke, I don't have any, but if I was to make a joke about the LB community, right? But I support them. Is that still like,
it's better? It's not our jokes to make. It's for them to make. That joke is for, you can sell that joke to a gay comic. You know what I mean?
Right,
like that's not our joke to make.
Right.
And I'm not even worth risking it. It's not even worth risking it. It's like, it's not worth it. I'll just stick to my middle-aged, like, horny old broad in a long-term boring relationship jokes who works for the government. Like,
I'm horny.
I'll stick to my world. Like, that's the thing. Like,
right, yeah. Because once you do go off, I see your point there. I think once you do go off and get out of your lane a little bit and start making fun of them, like, hey, those people and those people, that's when you could run into some issues. But if you're
Yes, you know, you're going to get in trouble for even saying those people.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
I know,
You
that's the
can't say
thing.
that.
The pronouns now, and
Yeah, you know.
we're in some murky water now where it's just weird because, and I think there should be a grandfather clause for some of this new lifestyle, that way we have to live. And I'm talking about like my lifestyle,
sure,
where now there's certain things that, like pronouns and the things that I could offend people with not even knowing.
Pronouns are important because they indicate a degree of respect. Who doesn't want to be respected?
As a writer and as a comedian, is this better or harder for you with material? Is it a challenge to say, all right, I can't joke about this, but I could joke about this, or does it?
Well, yeah. My life is ruled by anxiety. So I'm worried about like the stupidest things sometimes, you know, like my joke about like, you know, one of my recent jokes is I've been with nothing but musicians. So I've ingested so much musician semen that I should just be able to pick up a guitar and play Wonderwall without a single lesson, right? So now, of course, because I mentioned my ex-husband was a musician, all the idiots that came after him was a musician, and now I'm with another musician. And so now I'm like my ex-husband's still one of my very best friends. Like, we're still very close. So I'm like,
right.
Oh, is he going to get upset that I'm talking about sucking his dick on stage? And I'm like, Kate, you were married for 16 years. People know you sucked his dick, okay? Like,
I'm horny.
It's not a secret.
Right.
All right. You were together for 16 years. It's not a secret. But in my head, I'm like, oh, is he going to get upset that I'm talking about doing intimate things with him on stage? Or maybe I should text him and ask him. And I'm like, Kate, knock it off. I'm like, he's probably going to laugh at that joke, whatever. Like, but I worry about everything I write. I put it through the ring. Like, who am I going to offend? Who am I going to offend? Who am I going to offend? And, you know, I have a big joke about how I was born cross-eyed. And how, and then I was like, am I going to offend cross-eyed people? You know, but I consider myself one of them. Still.
Yeah, so you should be able to get away with it.
Cross-eyed community.
Right.
You know? And if I get drunk enough, they recross. So I'm still allowed. I'm allowed.
Yeah, I do think, I feel like it is a challenge these days for comedians, you know, because everyone has a cell phone now. Everyone's got the torch ready to light it up. And, you know what I mean? And it's just a weird time. But at the same time, I think that comedians need to be heard. They need to challenge the status quo. And,
And I mean, look, I'm not like saying I'm this flawless, wonderful creation of the perfect whatever. Like, I get offended too. Like, I was at some open mics last week where I turned to my friend and I was like, this guy's a disgusting fucking pig. Like, this guy's the fucking worst. Like, so I'm not like, oh, I'm perfect, blah, blah, blah. Like, nothing offends me and I don't offend anybody, blah, blah, blah. I get offended. Like, there is the lines to be crossed and there's dudes out there crossing it. And you know, I've definitely been the chick in the audience. It's like, this guy's disgusting and I will never do a show with him. So it's not like I'm so open-minded, doodly-doo, I never get offended. Right. I do get offended. You know, I don't want to hear that women are worthless pieces of shit. I don't want to hear about pedophilia. You know, I don't want to hear white people making black people jokes unless it's like, that line is walk like a tightrope. Like, you have to like, who's that French guy they made the documentary of?
Oh yeah, when he the tightrope walker. When,
he did the World Trade Center.
Yeah,
like,
Twin Towers.
Yeah, that's like, you got to be that guy of comedy to get away with that shit.
Now, with these Zoom shows and everything, tell everybody where they could see your Zoom shows, where they could find your artwork.
Well, the best way to find out about where all my shows are is Instagram. That's where I put it on, and that's Kate Balls of Fire. That's K, the number 8, and then the word balls. And then I'm usually the first one that comes up. So K, number 8, balls, Kate Balls of Fire. That's where all my info for all my shows is always going to be, and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, Kate Balls of Fire.
Kate Balls of Fire. Here I am.
Well, Kate, you're awesome, man. This was a great, fun conversation.
Yeah, you're the best, Don. Thank you for everything. Thank you for introducing me to Tim Saliani. He's like one of my favorite human beings now.
Tim rocks. He's great. Yeah,
we
talk
talk like
Tim.
3 times a week, and that's all because of you, Don. You're like this comedy friend matchmaker.
There you go. There you go. You know,
start a business. Like, are you a comedian looking for friends? Come to Don's comedian friend matchmaking service.
There you go. Just try to make dreams come true, Kate. You know, that's what it's all about. So.
Well, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kate Hester, everybody. Check her out. She rocks. All right, guys, that's the show for today. What a great show with Looney Tunes. We had a shopping spree. We bought some records with Joey Petroni, getting ready for his big DJ coming up later this weekend.
Yep.
So, yeah. So you had a good time?
I had a great time, man. I love this place.
Bought another Looney Tunes shirt.
Wow.
I'm Looney.
You are Looney, man. If I wore this mask home, my wife would smack me in the head.
I actually bought 2. One for Nancy. Nancy has one. Yeah.
There you go. Very nice.
Although I love the Rolling Stones. This place is like heaven, man. This is like, I could spend an entire weekend in here.
Oh, man.
You know?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And my paycheck.
Yes, indeed. This place rocks. Everybody
and you
remember.
Get these masks there, just so you know. I
You
bought
can
2
get
of
those
these.
masks there too. Remember, everybody, subscribe to our YouTube page at Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up, and like us and share us and do all that other good stuff. And come here to Babylon.
Looney Tunes in Babylon, baby.
1971, it's been here since.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
We all live in Govs Radio. Govs Radio. Govs Radio. We all live in Govs Radio. Govs Radio. Time to go, go, go.
Time to go, go, go.
The go-go, speaking of the go-go.
We got the beat, man. We got the beat.
I'm a fan of the Go-Go's. I was just making. I don't want anybody.
I didn't take it. It's his.
No, I have it on my. I have it on my iPod.
I bought it on YouTube.